This is your captain speaking, and this is a major portal update. It's really happening. It's all happening, and we are definitely in the Dragon Rider portal completely now. You may have noticed, you probably have noticed that shit is getting real, that you're feeling some major energies flowing in yourself and in the world. And yeah, I think if you look back at my forecast series where I talked about this energy, that it's really happening. I definitely had some sense of what it would be like, but now that I'm in the Dragon Rider portal, which is only a once in a thousand year Dragon Rider portal, that means, I haven't really been in one of these before, so I'm really just checking it out myself. I'm trying to be your guide and ally, and it's taking me a little while to feel things out, to suss things out, and I feel like I have now. And I think I'm ready to really give a full update here. I hope if you're new that you'll check out the forecast series, 4 videos, all on the energy that has kicked in now. That's really kicked in. I'll be reviewing things here, but after you've watched this one, go back and watch those forecast videos. They will probably make things a little more elaborated. I elaborate over 4 videos there, and this is going to be just an update, a check-in, but a little bit more than that, because there's a lot going on, there's a lot to talk about, and the fact of the matter is, there's a bunch of portals open. I talked about it in those initial videos, but those extra portals are open now. And what I'm talking about, if we look down here on this chart, and by the way, my name's Matthew Stelzner. Welcome to my channel. Welcome aboard my Star Cruiser, this amazing starship of mine. I promise you, it's safe journeys. It's safe travels on my ship. It's generally a pleasure cruiser. And yes, there's no avoiding the epic nature of this portal. Even pleasure cruisers are having to deal with some major turbulence. And yes, so please observe the fasten seatbelt sign and keep your seats upright and the tray tables up. And yeah, hold on, because we're riding this dragon now. And yes, so if you're new here, I'd love to have you join. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notifications bell, everybody. And then you'll be sure to be notified when there is an important portal update, because when you're in a Dragon Rider portal, shit can get intense. I don't know what to tell you, but clearly things are getting intense here in the world. And I'm here in San Francisco. I just voted, was it yesterday? It's Wednesday. It seems like things are happening so fast and intense here in the United States of America. And yes, Super Tuesday was yesterday, and this is Postmortem Wednesday? Postpartum Wednesday? I'm not sure what to call it. But Wednesday's been tough after Super Tuesday for me and for a lot of other people here with the political situation. This is a very progressive astrology channel. I mean, I have progressive politics. And so if that's not the kind of thing you're looking for, there's lots of other astrologers around. I would say I'm a very progressive Star Cruiser captain. And yeah, so I've been supporting progressive candidates. And I thought my favorite one, Bernie Sanders, like a lot of people, we thought maybe he had it kind of locked down. But no, it's on now. And I don't know. I mean, I think I was fooling myself, deluding myself that it might be easier than, of course, it's going to be. And I think this is the moment. If you see those first few videos, you'll notice that I use a bunch of different metaphors to kind of evoke the energy of this Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto triple conjunction that only happens every 1,000 years or so, at least to the degree that it's happening this year. All within 6-8 degrees all year long, straight, 10 months, 11 months long. This sometimes just lasts a month here and there, but this is all year. There won't be another alignment like this for another 1,000 years. And so it's a big deal. And there's no fixed futures. This is wide open. It's an open universe, and there's parallel timelines, parallel universes, and whatever timeline we're going to travel, it's up to all of us collectively to take actions that will lead us in particular directions. This particular presidential election, of course, could go in lots of directions. It seems like it's heading in a very strong direction in the last few days. And yeah, where how should I put it? Well, the control matrix has really exerted all of its armies to defend the status quo and to try to maintain the same old without really going for something bigger, like a bigger vision where everybody gets to eat, everybody gets health care, nobody gets burdened with extreme debt, rapacious debt. Yes, I mean rapacious lenders who burden many students with huge amounts of debt, and people who can't pay for their medical bills and can't pay for vaccines and can't pay for, well, I guess they could pay for vaccines for now. We'll see if the vaccine for the coronavirus is actually free of charge. That's yet to be determined. So, yes, a bunch of different metaphors to try to evoke this energy. And I invoked a few great stories like the Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potter series, and I used the metaphor of mountain climbing, and I want to add a couple more. Yes, a couple more important kind of story metaphors that have come to me now, and one of them, of course, is we need to bring some sci-fi stories in here. We got Harry Potter, we got Lord of the Rings. Those are definitely fantasy stories. We need some strong sci-fi stories, and I think I invoked The Matrix. The Matrix is definitely part of this, part of the way that we will understand this Dragon Rider portal is to think about the story of the Matrix and what happens for Neo and everybody, Trinity and Morpheus, the journey that they go on. That's an important one. But also, I think Black Panther, the sci-fi film and the amazing comic book series that was born in July of 1966, the same year that the Wachowski sisters were born, and the same year that J.K. Rowling was born. I'm pretty sure they were all born anyway under Saturn opposite Uranus and Pluto. Black Panther, J.K. Rowling, and the Wachowski siblings. They were all born in the same basic era when there was Saturn opposite Uranus and Pluto. And we're traveling through a Saturn-Pluto portal amongst other portals. Right now, we've got 6 portals happening. And I'm going to name those right now so I don't forget. You can see that Mars has come into the conjunction with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto down here. Look at that. All in Capricorn. Right now, all within 16 degrees. Mars is just 8 degrees from Jupiter, and I guess it's 12 degrees from Pluto. So, I mean, it's really strongly aligning with the first planet, Jupiter, in the sequence. And day by day, it's going to get closer here. And right now, I'm recording this late in the evening, March 4th. I've had a long day trying to integrate the election, process it, take it in. And yeah, it's been intense. I care about this election, as everybody does, I think. Everybody cares deeply what happens in the U.S. presidential election. Everything's on the line on planet Earth. And so, yeah, I didn't realize just how powerful the wave of political energy would sweep over me. I saw it happening, but until you're really in it, it's hard to really know just how powerful that political action energy is. The force of nature that sweeps over all of us to fight for justice, to fight for change. Yes, it's very powerful when it sweeps through you. When I would say Mother Gaia moves through each of us in a consciousness level, where she's like, it's time to get things transformed here. She's like, we got to fix some shit, and you're going to help me out. And that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this force of nature is coming over me. And I'm like, wow, there's so much on the line for me individually, but for everybody. And so we're seeing some major power moves happening on a mass scale, epic level. And I think we can say that a lot of that is this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction down here. Look at that. They're 4 degrees from exact. Wow, we can really feel the Jupiter-Pluto energy, which is the archetype of wealth and power. The way in which wealth and power are so, well, they're so attractive to certain types. So certain types of people are very attracted to wealth and power and the capacity to exert mass scale influence on the world. Take Mike Bloomberg, for example. What a great embodiment. What an operatic character on the historical stage. Wow, what happened? He just came in. I didn't even see it coming exactly. What an incredible presence he would be this year. $500 million spent to try to influence the political situation in the United States. Wow, amazing. And so you have, on the one hand, this kind of greed and impulse towards success, towards becoming an emperor, towards becoming an elite, that call of attraction, the attraction to become an elite and to have influence and power over others. And I think when you have Saturn in there, it's like the impulse to have control over others, the impulse to have control over masses of people. That's Saturn. That adds just this level of seriousness and intensity. Deadly seriousness is the Saturn-Pluto energy. The deadly seriousness of the coronavirus situation, but also the deadly seriousness of the global response to it. How the medical system in an oligarchy functions and the consequences it can have on a mass scale for people's health and people's level of safety and security. I mean, it'd be one thing if the coronavirus was sweeping the planet and everybody had access to healthcare and you knew that for sure there would be people taking care of you. And then there wouldn't be such a stress and a level of kind of paranoia that could come with the Saturn-Pluto energy. We're feeling that, and we're feeling Saturn, Pluto, the Wachowskis, the control matrix, the enslaving masters of the universe and what they can do to ordinary people. We're talking about Jupiter, Saturn, like ordinary people is Saturn and the elites are Jupiter. Ordinary, everyday people in their impoverished health, their impoverished resources. And then you've got the wealthy elites who have access to so many resources. 3 billionaires having the same amount of resources as the entire bottom half of the human population on the earth. Wow. Yeah. This is what we're looking at. Looking in the mirror like Matrix, like Neo rather. Looking in the mirror like Neo and seeing the truth of the control matrix, the global media conglomerates, the mass scale ownership of the narrative by corporations. Yes, that's what's happening here. And yeah, look, I mean, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all within 8 degrees right now. That's really tight. And then you can see Mars coming into it. Quadruple conjunction, all in Capricorn. This only happens once in 1,000 years at most. Sometimes Mars might not be in there the way it is this time. And it just adds this kind of kick-ass fire to it all. It gives a kind of potential for anger and the potential for a kind of warrior courage coming online. I can feel the warrior in me, a kind of principled warrior, a warrior philosopher who has some kind of moral principles that I see the world through, and I think you all have your moral principles that you see the world through. And the question is, can you be a warrior on behalf of those moral principles, and can you do it collectively with other warriors with moral principles, willing to fight for justice, willing to fight for what's right? Yes, that's Mars coming in now. And so we've got extra portals happening, everybody. And the fact of the matter is, I hope you're all coming out of the trippy portal safely. The Mercury-Neptune conjunction portal, which, where are we now? Mercury's way off Neptune. This is, Mercury is a full 19 degrees away from Neptune. But look at where the sun is. Exact Sun-Neptune conjunction as I'm recording this. It's going to be super strong for the next 2 weeks. Well, certainly for the next, what would I say? Yeah, the next 2 weeks. From now, March 4th through March 18th. Super potent Sun-Neptune conjunction. Over here we got a Venus-Uranus conjunction. So those are two major portals. What's a portal, you ask, if you're new here to this channel? A portal is the beginning of a new cycle of time. When two planets align with the Earth, it's the beginning of a new cycle of time where there's an opportunity for a new beginning, for starting a new kind of energy in a new way. Or how should I say that better? Each of these portals represents a certain quality of time, a certain pace of time as well. And at the beginning of each cycle, it's like a fresh start with that quality of time. And the gifts of that cycle of time, the gifts of that archetypal energy that are particularly pronounced at the conjunction points in the cycles. That's what we're talking about. A conjunction is when two planets are aligned. And I'm going to show you the astronomical map as I did in a previous video, which you can find up here. I will link the full sequence of my forecast videos. And the first one in the sequence I recorded in December, and I kind of looked at the following month, especially into January, and we looked at, let's see, preview of coming attractions. Oh, it's not there. This is what we're going to look at. Maybe I just pull it up now. Take a look at this, planetstoday.com. Awesome website, everybody. planetstoday.com. For astrologers, this is a cool website. Look how beautiful. It's got the astronomical, the astrological signs around the outside. That's very cool. And take a look here. Here's the Earth right here. That's our perspective. That's where we're looking from, the Earth. And look at Mercury's here. So Mercury's pretty close to the sun. If we go back here, you see, well, it's relatively close. It's 15 degrees apart. Mercury is in this alignment, basically. And if you look straight from the Earth, you run right into Jupiter here and Saturn and Pluto. So from the perspective of the Earth, you look towards Jupiter, and right there in the same part of the sky is Saturn and Pluto. And look, here's Mars coming in the next few weeks, all of March into early April. Mars is here in this straight line. Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto. That is 6 different portals, if I'm not mistaken. You got the Mars-Jupiter cycle of time beginning. You've got the Mars-Saturn cycle of time beginning. You've got the Mars-Pluto cycle of time beginning. And then you've got the Jupiter-Saturn cycle of time beginning, the Jupiter-Pluto cycle of time beginning, and then the Saturn-Pluto cycle of time. These are 6 major cycles of time of the 45 cycles of time that I pay attention to. There's lots of other portals that other astrologers focus on. Like some astrologers are probably looking at how Ceres, the asteroid Ceres, the largest of the asteroids. It's actually a planetoid, a dwarf planet like Pluto. I think it's considered the same category as Pluto. But anyway, I don't know a whole lot about Ceres, but it's pretty close here, and other astrologers might talk about it. But I like to focus on 45 combinations, 45 cycles of time, and this is 6 of them. And they're outer planet ones combined with the most potent of the inner planets, Mars. Well, potent in the sense that Mars brings force and fire and action. It activates. It brings a kick in the ass, I think. Mars kicks ass. One of these portals should be called a kick-ass portal, ass-kicking portal. That's maybe the Mars-Saturn conjunction. I've tried to come up with some names for these portals. You know me. I try to find catchy names because names help us tune into things. And there's all different kinds of names for these portals, just like the Hindu gods have different names in the different myths. Like Krishna is also called Gopal, I believe. Gopal, Govinda, Gopal. There's all kinds of names for those gods. Well, there's all kinds of names for these portals, but I came up with a few just today because I was trying to tune into them. And the Mars-Saturn conjunction, I'm calling it the black belt portal because we need some kick-ass black belts to get on the ground and start fighting for justice, because we're in danger of losing democracy here in the United States. We're in danger of losing democracy, so we need black belts to do their mastery. But yes, we could also call it the kick-ass portal, ass-kicking portal. Black belts can have some awesome kicking abilities. And then what else do we have here? I'm calling the Mars-Pluto conjunction portal the Black Panther portal. That has a nice ring to it, I think. The Black Panther portal. Mars conjunct Pluto every couple of years. Mars conjunct Saturn every couple of years. Mars conjunct Jupiter every couple of years. Those are each potent, rare transits, but they're all happening simultaneously. That's some major Mars energy, everybody. So if you're feeling lit up, feeling some high energy, if you're feeling a fire sweeping through you and an awakening to action, a call to action, call to arms, philosophical arms, I should say, social justice arms, yes, that's the feeling that Mars brings to the party. And so we got the Black Belt portal, Kick-Ass portal, Mars-Saturn, and Black Panther portal. That Mars-Pluto is just so powerful. It's a real force of nature. It has incredible willpower and passion and Kundalini rising type energy. I think we're feeling a kind of collective Kundalini rising energy politically here in the United States. Certainly there was a mobilization of incredible energy to shift this primary season in the direction of Joe Biden. All of the forces of power that arrayed around this politician who seems to be suffering from dementia. I think that's a really interesting symbol for what's happening with the Democratic Party in the United States, that we would put someone like Joe Biden forth as the anointed one, someone who is really fading. I send blessings to him in love, but he's not alive with passion, this person. He doesn't have the life force energy that I see in Bernie Sanders and those that are arrayed around him. There is life force and fire and passion. Dragons being ridden are happening on the one side, and on the other, we've got some ring wraiths, I think. Some ring wraiths that are circling and consolidating power. And the real dark shit, of course, is later in the year. But this is kind of we're setting the stage for the full drama of the year. We're in the Return of the King. We're in the Dark Hollows in terms of the Harry Potter metaphor. It's the last novel in Harry Potter. And the Ministry of Magic is being taken over. And he who shall not be named is really powerful right now. But there are hidden forces that are supporting the light. And that's the good news. So anyway, the other portals that are happening here, I mentioned, if you look from the Earth towards the sun, look what's directly behind the sun, way out there, Neptune. Sun-Neptune conjunction. It's really tight right now, strong the next couple of weeks. And if you look towards Venus here, look at Venus, Uranus, way out there. Venus, Uranus, those are really different energies. I had to come up with names for those two portals. I'm talking about 8 portals total now. I'm going to call the Venus-Uranus conjunction the portal of electric love. The portal of electric love. Yes. I think we're talking about a love train here that's awakening with that Venus-Uranus. There's a kind of awakening of the heart, an awakening of a love force, I think. In the midst of this epic political drama, there's an awakening to love, a call of love that is what responds to the dark side, that faces the dark side. I mean, that's part of what we're dealing with here with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Facing the shadow outside, but also we're all traveling to our own Mount Doom this year. Talked about Mount Everest earlier in those forecast videos. We're all on a mountaineering journey throughout 2020, and it's about building something bigger for ourselves and others, building something grander for ourselves and others. I think it's about protecting resources and expanding resources. That's a big theme of this year. Protecting our resources, fighting for our resources, fighting for the natural resources of Mother Earth, but also protecting our own individual resources. That's what I feel the fight is on an individual level with the political situation. There are some very real resources that are under threat right now. Access to certain support that could go away. And then there's an equal kind of possibility for an increase of support, an increase of resources that could come to those who fight for justice. Universal health care, for example, is on the table. The vast majority of the American people are all for it. And then there are the corporations whose stocks just went up in the last couple of days who don't want to share those resources. And so, yes, so we have this epic operatic drama unfolding. And wow, yes, I hope you've been feeding your dragon well, with good nutrition, and I hope you've been exercising. And no worries if you haven't been, but this is a good time to start exercising. That's Mars. If you want to tap into some of that Kundalini energy, get out there and move. Do some martial arts if you are drawn that direction. Do some yoga, do some running, do some long walks. Mars-Pluto is really good for getting out in nature and being wild, like that Black Panther portal I'm talking about. Time to become a Black Panther and feel the power moving through you. Yes. And the best way I have found, one of them, to really kind of tap into that energy is to get out in nature and be athletic in some way. I mean, it's a kind of guaranteed way to find energy that really lights you up, makes you feel alive. So I highly recommend being a little more athletic every day for the next 6 weeks. Don't try to run a marathon right away. You want to build slowly and get a little bit more movement each day. A little bit more movement each day, and you build up your strength. This is why athletics can bring flow states where, yes, by kind of staying at your growth edge, you get more energy flowing and you get into a flow. But it's like, it's this satisfaction of getting a little bit better each day that brings the flow. And so I think we should all, as part of our regimen for 2020, kind of just make that intention right now. I'm going to be a little bit more athletic day by day, week by week, because it's an investment in my health. It's an investment in my life force, and that can be so useful in every other area that we will be fighting for what's right. Yes. Yes. So the portal of electric love, that's Venus, Uranus. And then the Sun, Neptune portal, I am going to call it the portal of diamond luminosity. Diamond luminosity, the portal of white light. But I'm going to call it the portal of diamond luminosity. Shout out to Chris Beisch, who talks about diamond luminosity a lot in his amazing book, Diamonds from Heaven. No, that's the subtitle. LSD in the Mind of the Universe. I think that's it. LSD in the Mind of the Universe, his amazing new book. He talks about his experiences of diamond luminosity. And Chris Beisch happens to be born with a Sun-Neptune alignment. And so I think he's a great one to name this portal. Thank you, Chris. And I think I forgot a couple of portals. I just covered the Mars portals, Venus-Uranus, Sun-Neptune, and then the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. I was thinking of calling it the rags to riches portal and the riches to rags. I think we're just seeing that. The people who are living in rags versus the people that are living in riches, with riches. Yeah, the strong contrast that we're seeing so many ways around the world. The difference between the haves, the 1%, and the 99% who have a whole lot less. Some cases they got nothing, less than nothing. And that contrast is just, it's being mirrored to us very strongly right now. But I'm going to call the Jupiter-Saturn portal something else, and I'm going to call it the social justice portal. And with the Mars energies, it's the social justice warrior portal energy. Shout out to Jessica DeRuzza for the social justice portal naming. Her latest podcast stream talks about social justice as a spiritual practice. And definitely check that out. Also, check out the most recent podcast that I recorded with Jessica. I'm the host of Correlations, if you don't know. And we've got a new episode. Check it out. Follow that link right there. And yeah, we talk about the election. We recorded 2 episodes, just released the first one. We talk about the charts of Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and the overall political situation. I think it'll add a lot to what I'm saying here today. We're going to release a video that we've already recorded on Bloomberg and Biden, their charts, their transits, the transits for the coming year, a general conversation about the political situation. So that'll be coming out shortly after this video is released. So that'll add a lot to what I'm sharing with you. So yes, Jupiter, Saturn, social justice portal. And then, did I get the other ones? Oh, no, I haven't. The other 2, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction. I'm calling that the Phoenix Rising portal. The Phoenix Rising portal. Jupiter has to do with rising up. And Pluto is the transformational fires. And so you've got a Phoenix rising energy, which of course Phoenixes are dragons. So we're riding the Phoenix this year. And the Saturn-Pluto portal, I'm just going to call it the Ring Wraith portal for today. It can be Ring Wraiths or Dragon Rider portal. I think if I had to just choose one of the combinations that defines this Dragon Rider idea, I think it's Saturn-Pluto. Because when you're riding a dragon, you're working with your shadow. You're facing your shadow. When you face your shadow and integrate it, it releases all of this energy. It takes so much energy to repress the shadow and then project it onto others that you have conflict with, and then that sucks away energy and you're losing all the energy of repressing it. But then when you kind of own it, when you own how you've got a little bit of the thing that you're judging in the others, which of course is a huge thing in terms of politics. How do we own that we often have our own version of shadow that is really similar to what we can become really judgmental about others with? How we can project shadow onto somebody like Donald Trump and see that he has all of these problematic qualities, while we don't have any of those. Now, he's a more extreme embodiment of the shadow. That's the bummer of being him, having to be possessed by the shadow and then live it out. It's a real drag. But on a smaller scale, we all got that going on. And so, yes, that's really what dragon riding's all about. It's doing that shadow work with good guides. Frodo and Sam had Gollum. And Gollum took Frodo and Sam all the way to Mount Doom. And what's that? That's the journey that we go on with our own shadow when we work with it, when we try to look at it, try to own it. And there's so many different ways of doing this. I've talked about the 12-step approach to working with shadow. I like it because it's free for everybody and you can get awesome support there for all kinds of issues. Ultimately, it's about what's called the 4th step of searching and fearless moral inventory. It's like when you do that, when you own your own side of the street, and then from that, try to make amends, that's what we're talking about. Owning that we've got limitations, owning that we have shadow, and then working to transform it. That's riding the dragon, everybody. But then you got ring wraith riders. And yes, that's the unleashing of the shadow, the acting out of the shadow. Instead of dragon riding, you're ring wraith raging. You're becoming a killmonger rather than the Black Panther. Becoming a killmonger rather than Black Panther. And yes, that seems to be our choice here. Whether we will align, as Joe Biden has again and again and again, with the military-industrial complex and the medical-industrial complex, whether you're aligning with that, with the forces of evil, I don't think there's anything else that we could call the Iraq War but an expression of evil. And so you've got one person who is defending the military-industrial complex. That seems to be their role, to defend the status quo and protect the stock market, protect the billionaires. Or you've got someone who was practicing civil disobedience in 1962. You've got someone that went to the March on Washington and worked and fought to desegregate college housing. You got somebody that's built a social movement that's based on justice and trying to be of service to those in need. I think there's some clear differences there. And I think those differences are going to be articulated strongly in the coming weeks and months. So let's go back to our chart here. And I'm aware that I'm going to try to wrap up before too long. Yeah, I wanted to name one other thing here. Did we cover everything? Yeah, I think that's good. I think we can leave the planetstoday.com website. And this is today right now, March 4th. I want to go to when Mercury goes direct on March 9th. this Mercury retrograde has been strong for me, and I think I can really see it in the political situation, the way everybody's having to rethink things right now. Everybody's rethinking everything because everything's changed in a few days. And so we're rethinking our plans, rethinking our attitudes, rethinking what's on the line. And it's been also this trippy portal Mercury-Neptune energy. And so it's like, wow, we've been on quite a journey with the Mercury energy. But as Mercury goes direct on March 9th, March 10th towards Australia, that's, I think, a key moment to focus on. I think the feeling that I'm having there, if you notice, there are no retrograde planets from March 9th until, let's see, I think it's, yeah, till Pluto goes retrograde, March 9th to April 25th. What's that, about 6 weeks? But then if you add Jupiter and Saturn also going retrograde, that all happens between late April and mid-May. But in between Mercury going direct and all the planets being kind of full speed ahead, that's the energy I'm feeling. As we come out of Mercury retrograde in the next few days, it's like Mars pushes us forward, Mars leaps us forward into action, and we get busy. We're climbing now. We're actually climbing the mountain. We're actually moving up to Shelob's cave. And yes, things are really happening. Mars just makes things move. And so we're moving forward. Mars is going to help us fight. And what else do I want to say? What else? I wanted to name a little metaphor, another one, just to bring it in. Jupiter, Pluto, I've named this before, has to do with like mass scale forces of nature, but also like really large animals, like the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room, that we've got an incompetent presidential candidate who could become the nominee. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And that elephant in the room, I think another way of looking at another big animal is an elephant seal. And if you know about elephant seals, I think I'm gonna try to show a little video here of elephant seals. The males, when they go into battle mode, it's just like these huge forces bucking into each other, and they're trying to get power and resources. And so I think that's a good metaphor, thinking about elephant seals on the beach in mating season here in the springtime in the United States. I think that's probably happening. Maybe you're feeling your own elephant seal energies, like, yeah, it's time to get moving and exert my will on the world. Yes. What else did I want to say? Yeah. You can see, yeah, I think, let me go back to Pluto. Let's see. Okay. Yes, I wanted to just point out when we get into later in April, the Venus-Uranus portal is very closed. The Sun-Neptune portal is really closed. But there's these other two portals that open. A Mercury-Uranus portal and a Sun-Uranus portal. A triple conjunction there on Uranus. And I'll have something to say about that when we get there. But I kind of feel like from now all the way through this big alignment into late April, early May, we could look at the political season here and how that overlaps. Is it here? I think that's the one. Oh, I have a quote from Boromir. I thought this was relevant. One does not simply walk into Mordor. Its black gates are guarded by more than just orcs. There is evil there that does not sleep, and the great eye is ever watchful. It is a barren wasteland, riddled with fire and dust. The very air you breathe is a poisonous fume. And by the way, Another name I had for the Mars-Jupiter portal, I don't think I named that one. I'm glad I came back to it. I missed the Mars-Jupiter portal name. I want to call it the Entmoot portal. The Entmoot portal. I'd say the Entmoot is ending and the Ents are kicking ass. At the end of the second novel, as we begin The Return of the King, the Ents have just kicked ass. But it's kind of the end of the second novel, the beginning of the last novel, so I feel like the Entmoot and the Ent kicking ass energy is all happening here as well. So keep that metaphor in mind also. Yes, thank you, Boromir. I was just pulling up the election season. Gosh, yeah, we just had Super Tuesday. That was hard. And what's next? Yeah, that's Super Tuesday. March 10th, Idaho, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, Washington. That's really big. March 12th, Virgin Islands, not quite as big. Guam, Northern Mariana, Wyoming, not as big. March 17th, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio. That's really big. And now we have to take a look at that. That reminds me, real quick. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. We got to look at this chart right here. Okay, everybody? And then we're going to wrap things up. This video is getting a little long. Thanks for hanging in there. It's a lot to cover. When we go to, wait a second, here we go. Check this out. March 18th. But we're talking March 16th to the 19th, or let's just say give it a bigger window. I don't know. It's definitely 3-4 days, but I think we could kind of see it as a whole week here. As the moon is coming in and then conjoining Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. That's 5 planets all conjunct in Capricorn. And look how exact it is. It's all within 8 degrees. That's what I would call a super portal, but it's an outer planet super portal. If you check out my earlier video about the super portal, what did I call it? Trying to remember what that portal was called. I think maybe I just called it a super portal, but it was the interplanet 5-planet conjunction that happened at the end of August, early September last year. Is that where it happened? Check out the earlier video. But it was Moon, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, 5 planets in 5-planet conjunction, only once every 4 or 5 times in 100 years. That one was super rare, but this is 5 planets with the once in a 1,000-year Dragon Rider portal. So this is a really big alignment to focus on. Let's just say March 15th to the 20th. Why not? But look, please get out in the morning to see this, to observe the sky. Gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to definitely get up. You need to get up pretty early to see it. Let me just look at that for a second. Yes, I would have to, to look at the time, it's basically, if you get up around 5 a.m. or so before dawn, actually right up until dawn, you'll be able to see this. Look, see how far this all is from the sun? So before sunrise, for a couple hours at least, you will be able to see this rising in the east. The moon with Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. 4 visible plus Pluto. Yes. Oh, that's going to be the time to go out, observe, pray, do ritual. Super rare. 5 planets. That doesn't happen once in 1,000 years. It doesn't necessarily happen every single time either, for it to be this exact. So that'll be the time to really tune into it and, yeah, really find your relationship with this incredible Dragon Rider portal. I think that'll be a time where you're really getting to know your dragon, getting to see whether it's a ring wraith or Puff, the magic dragon. Puff the magic dragon, live by the sea. That's the dragon I'm going to be taming. It's one of them. I hope I won't be on a ring wraith come March 18th. I really hope it's Puff. Or the Never-Ending Story Dragon. That one could be good. And yeah, there's other great dragons like Kuan Yin's dragon. Amazing. Yes. So, yeah, I think we're wrapping things up here. Was there anything else I wanted to say? Yeah. There's always more to say. I'll be back with more updates. Yes, we have turbulence, but there's awesome stabilization in this Star Cruiser. And yeah, the Nebuchadnezzar, it's not exactly that kind of ship. I think it's more like the Black Panther ship. I like that one a little better. They have better food on that one. And so, yes, I would love it if you've enjoyed this video. It would really help me out if you hit the like button, if you share it, because I would love for other people to see this, especially the progressive astrologers out there. I don't know if the other astrologers will appreciate it so much, but please share it with your friends, and yeah, hit the subscribe button, please. I would love to have you join and get regular updates for me. If you hit the notifications bell, you'll be notified every time there's a video. And if you hit that bell, it kind of helps the algorithm and more people get to see this. So I'd love it if you did that. I would really love it if you'd leave some comments down below. I really want to know how everybody's doing and how you're seeing this energy, how it's working for you. I know this was mostly political, a lot of political stuff in this video, but that's just where we're at right now. But I hope you can also step back and see how the political energy is also its own metaphor for how this energy can come in other ways, in so many different ways in your life. And so in the future, I'm going to be talking about other ways. But today, it's politics. There's no escaping it. Blessings and love to you all. Blessings, blessings, love, love. Peace, everybody.